As we all know, 20th Century Fox Studios butchered many of the characters we grew up loving, the X-Men. While there were a few highlights amidst the chaos like X2, Days of Future Past, and the compelling writing of Magneto and Charles, the studio overall mishandled countless characters, designs, and tremendously rich storylines, none more infamous than the Dark Phoenix saga. Even after rebooting their universe, the quality of films remained disappointing. Time after time, they failed to do justice to these beloved characters. Now, the original X-Men cast is returning in Avengers Doomsday, likely reprising their roles for the final time. This movie will be the true test of whether Disney and Marvel Studios are worthy of wielding the rights to these iconic characters. Above all, fans want to see Cyclops finally done right. I know this is the #1 priority for every true X-Men fan. For far too long, Cyclops has been pushed to the sidelines in the films until last year's X-Men 97, which finally redeemed him. We want the strategic, disciplined Cyclops, a Cyclops who leads, who's a badass, and who knows how to fight with his powers at their full potential. We want to see the same insane optic blast he unleashed in X-Men 97. He also needs to be the leader who isn't afraid to make the hard decisions, just like his comic counterpart. We've already seen more than enough leadership from Charles Xavier and Logan in the Fox movies. It's time to pass the torch back to Cyclops. I have faith that the directors and Kevin Feige understand the weight of this responsibility. I believe they will finally give Scott Summers the respect he deserves. James Marsden was perfectly cast as Cyclops, but Fox wasted his potential. All he ever needed was the classic blue and yellow suit and proper writing. Cyclops has always been one of the coolest and most iconic X-Men in the comics, and he deserves to be portrayed that way on screen. I'm confident the directors and Kevin Feige understand what's at stake for this character. I don't expect huge amounts of screen time or deep writing for him in Doomsday, but at the very least he needs to be portrayed as the true leader he is, not reduced to a jealous, strict boyfriend. Cyclops must not be disrespected this time. Another major priority for me, and I believe for many fans, is the X-Men costumes. I trust that Kevin Feige and the creative team will get this right. They've already proven they can with Deadpool and Wolverine, giving Logan and Gambit their comic accurate suits. Every X-Men fan has been waiting for this moment. No more of those bland, generic black leather costumes. We want vibrant, comic accurate suits that reflect each character's unique personality at a glance. It's part of what makes the X-Men so iconic, like a band of diverse mutants coming together. Whether it's the legendary blue and gold suits, Jim Lee's iconic 90s design, or the early 2000s outfits from Astonishing X-Men and Messiah Complex, I would be thrilled with any of them. Any of those would prove to me that the MCU knows what it's doing with the X-Men. The only design I wouldn't want to see is the one from Grant Morrison's 2000s run, which is essentially the same dull black leather aesthetic Fox pushed for years. These two priorities, respect Cyclops and give the X-Men proper costumes, are the core of what I need to see in Doomsday. Everything else is secondary. Marvel has only one shot to prove to comic fans that they can handle the X-Men properly. Considering this will most likely be the last time the original cast returns, if Marvel can't do them justice, can't give them proper action scenes in their iconic costumes, I will lose all faith in the future of their X-Men franchise. Marvel Studios has been inconsistent, delivering some solid content while also releasing some of the worst entries in the MCU like She-Hulk, What If, and others. Looking at this year's slate, it's clear Marvel is on another roller coaster. Shows like Daredevil, Born Again may lift the brand, but other projects like Ironheart could bring it crashing down. The MCU has never quite recovered from Endgame. Expectations will be sky high for how Doomsday handles the X-Men. This is their first and last chance to prove they can handle these characters on a bigger scale. Deadpool and Wolverine was fun, but let's be honest, it was mostly a cameo fest with only 3 X-Men involved. That's easy compared to what's coming. With so many of the original X-Men cast returning, we can't realistically expect a lot of screen time or deep development for every character. What we really want to see is action. the X-Men fighting side by side as a team. I want to see them working together in combat alongside the Fantastic Four and Avengers. Can you imagine? For the first time in live-action history, we'll witness these legendary characters standing in the same room, planning battle strategies and fighting as one. Specifically, the action scenes I'm most hyped for involve Nightcrawler. Alan Cumming was phenomenal in this role, and the visual effects for his teleportation was ahead of their time. His agility, the way he used his tail, and the crawling movements felt like he was ripped straight out of the comics. Since we're talking about comic accuracy, I know it's unlikely, but I would absolutely love to see him wield the 3 rapiers in his classic red and black suit. And of course, who doesn't want to see Magneto return? Everyone wants to see him tossing vehicles, lifting bridges, and showing off the full scale of his powers. I'm praying we finally get to see him in his red and purple comic accurate suit. I would have loved to see Michael Fassbender's version return as well, and there's still hope for that. As for Gambit, I'm still unsure whether Channing Tatum is the right choice. I love to see him finally bring Gambit's iconic kinetic parts and smooth combat skills again. For the rest of the X-Men, I believe we can expect some peak action sequences. Beast is another character I think deserves more attention. While I feel he was done fairly well in the early 2000s Fox films, I would love to see more of his scientific side. Kelsey Grammer's version only had 1 movie appearance, and none of it showcased Hank McCoy as the genius he is in the comics. As for Mystique, honestly, I couldn't care about seeing her again. Rebecca Romijn's portrayal was great and comic accurate, and her action scenes were top tier. But the reboot films over-focus on her, especially in Days of Future Past, and I believe she's had enough screen time. Other characters deserve the spotlight now. I would absolutely love to see some of the other original X-Men actors return. Shawn Ashmore's Iceman was fantastic. While his personality in the movies wasn't as accurate to the comics, he was a chill, likable character with some of the coolest action scenes, especially in Days of Future Past. It would be great to see him again. Seeing Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy return would also be a treat. They were perfect casting choices for the younger versions of Magneto and Charles. I hope they include Deadpool's Colossus as well. That version of Colossus was exactly what we wanted. A gentle giant with the perfect design, personality, and accent. Something Fox never got right in the early films. And this may sound wild, but I would love to see the characters from The Gifted appear in Avengers Doomsday as part of the X-Men. The Gifted was an underrated show that told powerful stories about mutants trying to survive in a world without the X-Men, and I highly recommend it. One character I desperately want to see is Emma Dumont's Polaris, Lorna Dane, Magneto's daughter. Seeing her share the screen with the MCU's Scarlet Witch would be incredible, though I know it's unlikely. Emma Dumont's portrayal of Polaris was one of the best parts of The Gifted. A live-action meeting between Magneto and Polaris would be something every X-Men fan would dream of. Overall, I'm more hyped for Avengers Doomsday than I've ever been. I definitely didn't expect actors like Alan Cumming to return, or the possibility of Channing Tatum's Gambit, and there's still room for even more X-Men appearances. We could finally get a full-fledged X-Men team in live action instead of just a handful of scattered characters. The X-Men are coming, and I'm gonna be ready for it.